Yeah, so welcome guys to this new day. And today I myself, Amit Kumar Mumu, hosting as an interview, and we have our old friends with us, and we will be beginning with this new interview with the topic. And the topic today's topic is we will be talking about switch case statements, control flow, like how we are controlling the flow in the JavaScript, and we will be talking about a little bit of loops, and some questions will be there from CSS and HTML. So let's begin the interview with Karan itself. So Karan, you need to tell me about what is the concept of control flow in JavaScript.
Okay. So control flow refers to the order in which JavaScript is working. Okay. So like JavaScript is working from top to bottom and left to right. So it is the working flow of JavaScript, how the conditions are executed. Okay. So that is the flow. Like because JavaScript is a single threaded language, that's why it works as from top to bottom. So its control flow is that. But there are some things through which we can change that control, like that flow, and those conditions are like if else, like switch cases, and if else and loops also. Through that we can change that flow of execution. We can pause if we want to execute something, we can pause if there is a if else statement and all the things. So that's how we can control the flow of execution. And why it is used, like why these conditions are used. So these conditions are used to to make JavaScript more dynamic, and to like we are able, because of that we are able to like execute the code based on some conditions, which is really important. Then the benefit of these things are simple. Like we can like in our websites we can give simply any condition, and according to that we can get the code, or we can get the product. And the examples I already give, the examples are simple: if else statement, switch case, and all these things. So that's all.
Yeah, so very nice. What I was expecting, you delivered the same thing. Simply, control flow in programming language is a fundamental concept in which these three things comes, and through which we can control the flow of our code. Like something we can skip and something we can include. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
So next I will go to Mahin. So Mahin, you need to tell me about where is that? Yeah, you need to tell me about how does an if-else statement works in JavaScript.
Okay, so basically, if conditions you run on a particular conditions, and first I have condition. So if block, and after parentheses, and in parentheses I need to give any condition, and that based on condition the next means the whole block will run if that condition true or not. If and when if this that condition is not true, so it keep that particular if statement and it go to next, and that is else. And there is a one more thing. If we want to include the one more condition, so we can use here else if. And by using this else if, we can also include second one a condition in parentheses, and by using that we can after that we write a code block, and in that we can write our program like when this condition is true, so this program should run. And after that, by using this else if, we can conclude so many kind of conditions, and basis on that we can set our program. And when we have an option as a else, all the condition is not true, so we can set the else option. If all condition is not true, so this program should be run. So this is how if else condition is a work in JavaScript. So this is my
Yeah, perfect. So I don't think I need to give any extra thing apart from your answer. Your answer includes everything. Yeah, nice, good. So now I will ask Kirtika. So Kirtika, you need to tell me about how you can provide an example. I mean, you need to provide an example of using switch case statements in JavaScript.
Okay. The switch cases are a control flow in a code of block in a JavaScript. In a switch cases, once the condition is satisfied, there is a number of cases with value with the execution. So, for example, in case a switch, the cases condition should be inside the bracket. Example, a day is a condition. Then it go with the condition like a case one. It's a day is one. And if it is satisfied, it gives the console it is a Monday, like that. And it gives a break. Why we are giving a break means, once the code of block is not satisfied, it have to exit the switch cases. So for that purpose, we are giving the break. So it will go on till the cases as conditions is satisfied. Once you none of the conditions are satisfied, it will go for the default one. So default is like a else condition. So there, what is the default messages are there? That will be the output. These are the flow of execution of a switch cases.
Nice.
That's
Exactly. So switch case made up of three things, which is switch, and then you have multiple cases, and to justify those multiple cases, you have break and continuous statement in between, and after that you have the default, as you told. Yeah, exactly. So next I will ask Vishal. So Vishal, you need to tell me about the syntax of a for loop in JavaScript. Like while writing a for loop, what keywords we use and how to structure that for loop. Yeah, simply tell me the syntax.
Yeah, so basically we use for loop to do multiple, like if we want to do a task which is repeated again and again, so we can do that task with the help of for loop. So syntax is very easy of for loop. First we need to declare the initial point where we want to start our loop. So first is initial point, we need to declare it, and then we need to give the condition from where we want to run our loop. So second is uh, from where we want to run our loop, and the third is how many steps you want to increase in a single iteration. So these are the three things. First we write for, and inside the bracket we write three things, and then we open bracket, and inside that bracket we write our code, whatever we want to execute, whatever we want to uh, run that for loop. So this is the simple syntax of for loop.
Yeah, exactly. So just to summarize it, your answer, I would like to reiterate one more thing. So a for loop is just like you said, it is a statement through which we can repeat some line of code or some task. So for loop includes these three things: the initialization, the condition, and then the incrementation or decrementation, like whatever we need. And then we pass a code block, and inside that code block, we need to write our statements with to which we need to repeat. Yeah, exactly. So our first round is completed. Now let's jump on to the second round. So I will start again with Mahin. So Mahin, you need to tell me about you need to differentiate between if else statement and switch case statement. Which thing we need to use when?
Okay, so both are uses for a condition statement only. So, for example, we have so many conditions. Like, for example, I have a day from Monday to Sunday, and I want to take it like if there is a Monday, so return one, and if there is a Tuesday, to return two. So in this case, I'm going to use switch case because there's a lot of like maybe 7 conditions. So I can't going to do like if Monday, so do return one, else if it's Tuesday, to return a two. So this is a very lengthy process with using if else condition. So I am going to use switch cases in this case. But when I have only 2 3 conditions, like if true, so do this. If not true, so do another something else. So in this case, I am just simply use the if else condition. So in conclusion, when we have a lots of condition statements, so I am going to need to use switch condition, and there is only 2 or 3 conditions, so we should use only if else condition.
Yeah, exactly. That is the main difference between if and else. If you have multiple, or if those statements take your code, take your spaces, you can simply use switch case. Those are more mature and more concise way of writing your statements or tasks. So, well, nice. So jumping on to our next contestant, next interviewee, who is Karan. So Karan, you need to tell me about the concept of nested loops, nested if else blocks. So there are some conditions where we use it. So you need to nested if else conditions. Nested it means
Okay.
else if that thing, like you have
Okay,
multiple
okay,
test
okay,
cases,
okay,
multiple
okay,
things to run. Yeah. So
okay.
yeah,
So like when we are using like Mahin tell ki we use switch cases when there are multiple like execution code, we want multiple conditions we want to give and we want output from it. But like in that like if we have 2 or 3 conditions only and we want to execute that, so we will favor more to if else statement. Inside that statement there are some things like we can use else if to add more conditions. Like in if we can give one condition, then in else if we can give another condition and we can execute the code according to that, then another else if. So that's how we can use if else as a switch case also. Like we can add multiple cases for the multiple conditions for the code. So that's how we use it.
yeah,
And it
nice.
is used when like it is basically used when like there are multiple conditions. Okay, for example, if I give example, so for example, if there is a code we want to check it is even number, odd number, or a prime number. So in that case, for a prime number we will give a condition, and for the even number we can give else if condition, and for other numbers we can simply use else statement, because other number is going all automatically gonna be odd numbers. So that's how we can use else if. So that's an example for that.
Yeah, nice. Another follow-up questions for you. Let's
You are stuck.
Okay, let's consider you have a conditional statement there, one if and one else. So you might be having more conditions inside that conditions, like nested if conditions. So tell me about that, when to use it, and what is the benefit of using that?
Okay, there are different what are you saying ki, like there is a condition if else statement. Okay, and in between I have different conditions also, like with using else if. You are saying that na?
No. One if condition, and inside that if condition you are again checking for another if conditions if inside if. Yeah.
Okay. In if inside and if. So how, what I have to tell? How should
you need to tell me the situations when we need to use it and the benefits of using it.
Okay, I have to give the example now. Okay,
yeah.
Let me think of an example. If I talk about, okay, so for example, there is an like we want to find a number which is odd as well as a prime number. Okay, I want to find a number which is a prime number and also a odd number. For that, what we can do, we can simply write a code for an odd number in a if statement, and inside that if statement we can give another if statement for checking the number is a prime number or not, and that's how we can use it. So in these conditions we can use the nested if statement.
Yeah, exactly. Nice, well done. So good. So jumping on to another member who is 𝗶𝗶𝗃. So 𝗶𝗶𝗃, you need to tell me what are the advantages of using a for loop over a while loop.
Okay. So what is the major difference between for and while loop means when we know the number of iterations is a known one, then we go for the for loop. When the iteration is not predictable, in such case we will go for the while loop. For example, the structure of a for loop is inside of for we have a parenthesis. Inside that we will give a variable and condition and iteration. Once it's done, we will give the output with the consoles. But while loop, we will give the first variable and condition and output. At last only we will give the iterations. So this is the major difference, and this is better way to go for the while loop to apply with the easy known of the iterations, and it's also avoid the crashing of the computer instead of a number of iteration is going on. It is the better way to go for the for loop than a while loop.
Yeah, nice. So your answer was right. Adding on to it, we can also say that while using a for loop, in for loop we have a very good structure. We can declare a variable whenever we want, and then we can have the structured way of like we can have a condition then and there, and we can initialize and like reinitialize then and there. So we have all the things in one place. But while working with a while loop, we have declaring in another place, we have condition one place, and we have initial increment or decrement on the very last of the loop. So this is also a major difference between using those things. So that was good. And secondly, we can also say that for loop is more structured because you have all the things in one place, and you can, after after the next line you have all your tasks. But while doing with the while loop, you have all the things all over the places. So you need to be more cautious about where you are using what. So good, nice. So jumping on to another question with another participant. So Vishal, you need to tell me about what are the keywords we use to control the flow of a loop. Like there are keywords like break and continue. So you need to tell me about what those does and when to use what.
Yeah, so yeah, basically we use break and continue statement whenever we want to break our like flow of loop. Like for example, let's suppose we are running a loop, and in certain period of time we want to break that loop. Like if we have a we are using while loop, so at a point like when our condition will become false, so we want to break our loop. So so we can use break statement at that point, so automatically our loop will become break. And yeah, continue statement also we use when we want to like when we want to escape a value, escape one iteration, where we put that continue statement, it will skip that iteration and just jump into another iteration. So it will escape that one particular iteration where we put it continue statement. Yeah.
Nice, exactly that. Just summarizing your whole question, whole answer. Break statement is used just to break an unwanted iteration. Like we don't want to go on further onto that iteration. So you just break from that loop with break statement. What continue does is you just want to continue to another iteration. So just put a continue and it will move to the another iteration. Nice. So with this, our second round also completes, and we will jump onto the next round. So next round, again, starting with mine. So mine, you need to tell me about a demonstration of using a ternary operator as a substitute of if else statement. So when we use ternary operator in place of if else.
Okay, so basically, ternary operators is a concise way of if-else condition, but there is a difference between ternary operator and a if-else condition. So when we have a like a condition, if condition is that is true, so do this as something else. This means we have a two things. So use ternary operators because ternary operator works with only with the if and else condition. It means if we have just one condition if and just when it will true like a condition is true, so do this programming else do another thing. So in this condition we need to use ternary operators, and it's a very concise way of if else condition, so we should use that instead of if else condition. While when we have only one condition like if this parenthesis in parenthesis where condition when it is true, do this programming also, and we have a nothing for else like when this condition is not true, it is false, so do something else. But where we have a nothing to do something else when condition is true, condition is false, so in this case we can't use ternary operators because ternary operator accept only if or else condition. So when we have only one condition means condition to do something else if it is false. So in this condition we use only if condition. Otherwise we can use the ternary operator. Yeah, no?
Okay, nice. Just another follow-up question. You demonstrated or you just told the benefits of it. Now you need to tell me about some of the drawbacks of using ternary operator over if else.
Yeah, drawback is that if where we use like I have a condition true and I don't want to when if that is a false, so do something else. I don't want to another thing do instead of true in a false. So in this condition, I can't use the ternary operators because ternary operators need the if condition or else condition also. So in this condition, I can't use ternary operator.
Adding on to that, we have another one big reason, and that is nested if blocks. So while dealing with a nested if block, we can use a ternary operator as well. But when we use it, it makes a little bit like it needs to, I mean, a developer needs to read it very precisely, because those are not well structured, and it is very hard to read out. So that is another major reason why we prefer if else conditions over ternary operator when we have nested if blocks and when we have multiple conditions to go through. Yeah, so that was it. Now, Karan, you need to tell me about the differences between while loop and do while loop.
Okay. So our while loop is used like when we want to execute a block of code, like we want to execute a block of code repeatedly until the conditions get true. Okay, that's why we use a while loop. The simple syntax of while loop is that we will use while, inside a parenthesis we will provide the condition, and then like we will give the curly braces. Inside that curly braces we will write the execution part, like what is the code we want to execute, and we can increment the value of that condition also, so that it will increment and the loop goes on. So that's the basic syntax of while loop. Now talking about the do while loop, so like do while loop is similar to a while loop, just there is one key difference. That key difference is that do while loop at least execute one time, even though like we don't like the condition is not true, then also it will like at least run one time. The basic syntax of do while loop is that like first of all we will write do, and then we will inside the curly braces we will write the condition, like the execution part, execution code what we want, and inside the curly braces only we can increment the value. Then after that like after closing that curly braces, then we will write while, and that we will give the condition. So that's why when the JavaScript runs the code, it will at least runs the code once, because the condition is above that, the execution part is above that condition part. So that is the basic difference between while loop and do while loop. And we have more benefits in while loop, because it only gives the answer when the condition is true. So there is more benefit in while loop. So that's all.
Nice. Although your answer was not little structured, but I got the sense. Yeah. So do while loop just executes the code, and it checks when it executed at least one time. So it executes first, and then it checks for further iterations. But while loop doesn't do that. It checks first, and then it starts implementing the tasks. Nice.
Yeah.
So next I would go to Vishal. So Vishal, you need to tell me about how can we optimize a loop construction in JavaScript for better performance. For example, let's say you have a loop, and that loop is handling a lot of tasks inside that. Some tasks are some tasks can be optimized inside that using some break statements or continue statements, or somewhere you need to skip some of the iterations. So those are optimizations. So you need to tell me about some of the methods through which you can optimize your code in a for loop.
Actually, I'm sorry, but I don't get the exact what are you trying to ask me.
Okay, yeah, I'll simplify it a little bit. So there is a loop, and inside that loop you have multiple conditions, and it's not necessary to execute all the statements in every iteration. In some iterations you need to skip some of the tasks, and in some iterations you need to execute every task. So you need to tell me some of the methods, like you need to tell me about some of the ways through which you can write a optimized loop where you are handling those edge cases, like with using continue and break statements. So yeah, you just need to give me a example or a syntax.
Actually, I don't know about the methods you are talking about we can use to optimize the code. I only know about the break and continue statement. With the help of these statements, we can optimize our like loops. So I don't know that is only.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, nice. So I will explain it in the last. So the follow-up question, since you are unable to know the last question. So Yeah. So another question for Vishal is for you is this. You need to tell me about the concept of specificity score. So in specificity score, you need to tell me the benefits of it and some of the use cases of it.
Yeah, so basically specificity refers to individual value that our like in our H table we have tags and elements. So every tags and elements have their own specificity value. It is used when we implement two or more elements or tags in the same place. So browser will refer that one whose specificity value much more than the other one. So yeah, so basically specificity value refers at the time when we use one and more than one element in the same times. Browser only refer that one whose specificity value is much more than the other one. Yeah, this is all about the specificity value.
Okay, good. But I was expecting another answer from it. The more specific answer would be to this, like specificity scores determines the styling to get applied on a particular element. Let's say you have multiple stylings, and those stylings are conflicting with each other because those stylings we have implemented on one element itself. So specificity of those styling or property, we can say, determines which styling needs to get applied and which needs to get ignored. Let's say you have one div, and on that div you have selected it with two different methods, and one method is applying a green color and second method applies brown color. So now specificity scores comes into picture. It now whichever property has more specificity score, those properties will get applied, and the color will be taken from that property only. Yeah, so this was I was expecting. No worries. Let's go to our next member. So 𝗍𝗶𝗋, you need to tell me about the use cases, like when we used to put classes in elements and when we need to use IDs onto a document element.
Okay. So classes IDs are the specific attributes in the attributes are using in the styles in the CSS. So ID is a specific thing. Its ID is for a unique one. It is applied for only one tag or one element which we going to process. But the classes is applied for a group of thing. We can apply a classes wherever it is the classes attribute is passed. Wherever we can use the condition over the all the elements of the classes. But ID we can't do like that. It should be specified in only one element. This is the major difference between the ID and class. And class is mentioned using the styling is with the dot, and ID is used to mention as a hashtag.
Yeah, perfectly. Periods are for classes and hashtags are for IDs. One more thing, like when you have a very unique element, let's say navbar is a unique element, footer is a unique element. So those elements can be given IDs just to keep it separate and apply some specific styling to them. And IDs, as you told that there are multiple common elements on which you need to apply the same styling, you can add ID. Yeah, so with this, our third round is completed. Now we will jump on to our last round, which is guess the output questions. Here I will be providing some code blocks and they need to guess the output. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, guys, now let me share the screen, and Vishal, you need to guess the first problem's output. So this is your problem, and you can take 2 minutes and you can brood upon it and you can guess the output. Yeah, until then, video is paused.
Yeah. Hello. So
Yes.
so the answer is this loop will run from 0 to 5 minus 1, and when we have 2, which is totally divisible by 2, so yeah, it will receive 2. And when we have 4, so yeah, 2 and 4 is the answer of that question. Yeah.
Okay, your answer is 2 and 4. Your answer is partially right because you have 0 also. So 0 will be there. So the correct answer will be 0, 2, and 4. These three are divisible by 2. Of course, 0 are also there because when you multiply 2 with 0, it is also divisible. So 2, 4, and 0 are the possible answers. Nice. So next, I will jump on our next member, who is 𝗃𝗃. So 𝗃𝗃, your question is this. And yeah, so this is your question. Look at carefully, and you have 2 minutes. You can start solving it.
I will tell the
Okay,
point.
nice.
Okay, so you tell from an in while loop from num to 0. So it goes from 10 to 0 in decreasing manner. So it starts from 9. So in the condition satisfied, num is a module of a 3. That is a 9, 6, 3. So these are conditions will satisfied over here. So from that, it goes in the decrease. It's continuing and going with the another conditions. So that is a numbers less or equal to 2. So here the numbers starts from I think the answer from that old answer we have to list everything with 2. So from that I'm listing it and getting the answer 741. These are my answers. Output.
Okay, 741. Oops, I missed the 7. Yeah. So let's run it and we will get the answer. So we have num, and then we are here we have the answer. Sorry, the condition, and then we are consoling at it very. I mean, at the very first line we are consoling it. So 10 we will get as our first answer, and after that we are checking if that 10 is divisible by 3 or not. Of course, it is not divisible, so it will skip this whole if block, and we will get at the very end line, and which is we are decrementing 2 from this 10. So next the num is 8. So from next iteration the num is 8, and again we are consoling the num at the very first line. So we are consoling 8, and then we are again checking if that 8 is divisible by 3. It is not divisible. We are again skipping this whole thing, and again we are decrementing from it 2. I mean 2, yes. So for next iteration, the loop will start with num is equals to 6, because we decrease 2, and again we are consoling it. So after consoling we will have 6 on our console. Again we are checking if that 6 is divisible by 3 or not. Now it is divisible, so we are going into the if block, and we are first we are decrementing it by 1, and then we are continuing from this whole rest of the iterations. So now our num is 5, and from that 5 we are not executing anything below this line. So on to the next iteration, we are again consoling num. So we have 5, and again checking that 5 is divisible by 3 or not. It is not divisible by 3. Now we are skipping this if block. We are again coming in here. Now from num, which is 5, we are decreasing 2, decrementing 2. So now our num is 3, and on the next iteration we are consoling that 3. So after consoling we have 3. Again we are checking if that num is divisible by 3 or not. It is divisible. We are coming into the if block, and we are decreasing it one more time. So now our num is 2, and we are continuing from that 2. Like num is 2 and we are continuing 2. We are not reaching to this. In the next iteration we are consoling that 2 again. So we have 2 onto the terminal, and again we are checking if that 2 is divisible by 3 or not. It is not divisible. We are coming again, skipping this whole if block. We are decrementing 2 from that 2. So for the next iteration we have num is equals to 0. Now since it is 0 and we need to check, it will caught it here, and we will not go on to the while loop. Now while loop is completed, and we have these numbers into our terminal. Hope you it is understandable. And yeah. So I'm very happy that you give it a try. So that was good, more than enough. So jumping on to our next member, which is Karan. So Karan, for you, the question is this, and yeah, so you have 2 minutes.
Okay.
You need to guess it and give me the answer.
Okay, so the answer for this question, I will explain. So first of all, we are creating a loop from 1 to from 1 to 3 only. Okay, and it is running from 1 to 3. Then 1 to 2, sorry, 1 and 2, because there is no equals to sign. So 1 to 2. Then there is another loop inside that loop, which is running from 0 and 1. Okay, so it will only run 2 times. Then the answer will be 0 0. First console will be 0 0 0 dash 0, right? Then the second will be 0 dash 1. Okay, then 1 dash 0 and 1 1 1 dash 1, then 2 dash 0 and 2 dash 1. So this will be the output.
Yeah, give me a dry run for this much only.
Okay. So first of all, we are making a loop from 1 to 2, 1 and 2. Okay. So what is happening 0 to 2? So first the loop will be run and it will go to the second loop. And inside that second loop, we are making the loop for 2 times, like 0 and 1. So that's why the first output is 0 and it will run 2 times. So 0, 0 and 0, 1. Okay. Understand? Then
Yeah.
then we will go again to that loop. Then it will run from, like, it will run 1 time, then it will give 1, then it will go to the second loop, then again it will run 0 and 1. Okay, that's why it's 1 is dash 0, 1 dash 1. Then again it will go, and then there it will 2, and from again it will be run like 2 dash 0 and
Okay,
2
yeah.
dash 1.
Yeah, I got your approach, and your answer is also correct. So it is a correct answer, but you need to work on your explanation part. Yeah,
I understand. Yeah.
so good. We are done with one more problem. So next we will go for Maheen. So Maheen, your problem is this. Yeah, this. So brood upon this, you have 2 minutes and you can start solving this.
So let me explain the answer. First, let num equal to 10. So in while loop, num greater than 0. Obviously, this condition will true, and this console print firstly 10. Okay, after that, in num minus equal to 3. It means it minus by 3 digit and it will come to 7. And but 7 not divisible by the 2. It means it will skip that block, and after it go to num minus minus. So it will 7. So 7 minus 1, so it will go to 6. Now num is 6, so it will take num 6 is greater than 0. So it will print 6 after 10. And after it goes num minus equal to 3, it will decrease 6 by 3. So it will go now like a 3. And also num 3 is not divisible by 2. So it will skip that part again, and again it go to num minus minus. So now it's a 3. 3 minus 1 is a 2. Now it go to like a num 2 greater than 0. It will print first 2 in line number 3. Consolidated if num is 2. And when but 2 minus equal to 3, but 2 is less than 3. 2 minus 3 it give a minus 1. So now minus 1, and it so it will not go in that particular block that num modular equal to 0. So minus 1 go with num minus minus. So it will num minus 1. Minus 1 it will go to minus 2, and minus 2 is not a greater than 0. So it will not print, it means it will not go inside the while loop, and this is my answer 1062.
Exactly. I'm glad that your answer is exactly true. So well done. Actually, this question is very good. Even this question gave me a little hard time to digest, and you did it on in 2 minutes. So yeah. So with this good thought, I guess our answers. I mean, we have done our last round as well. So it's now to tell you bye bye, guys. It was a very good time with this interview, and we have a very good answers in this chat, in this meet, and we have very good persons in front of us. So I will give you I would like to give a shout out to Maheen, because she solved our last problem, and that problem was very good problem. So you can expect these kind of problems in our interviews, and we will be bringing up more such kind of good questions and good theoretical questions as well. So with this good thought, I'm Amit Kumar Momo signing off for today, and we will meet you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Thank you, interviewer, for shouting me. Bye bye, guys.